Hello everybody and welcome finally to a new recording of our RMR-Podcast. Yay, we finally managed to come together. We actually have our 1 month schedule, but somehow last month was I don't know what happened. We just were not, I don't know. Anyway, we are back again with our manga podcast, and we read an awesome manga. Had this time 2 months to read this manga. And just to remind you about our podcast. We normally have as I said before, a monthly podcast where we talk about a manga that we choose, that we either already kind of discovered in the past and feel like that should actually be mentioned again because it's a good manga, or mangas that are kind of recommendation. That's why it calls a random manga recommendation. Some mangas that are not as popular as the ones that are already up in the popular hype anyway. So we wanted to introduce you to those mangas. And so we read an awesome manga, but before we go into this, I would say we introduce all and the people that are there today. So starting with Jamie, say hello, Jamie.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Good day.
So then we have Misaki.
Hello, everyone.
And then, sadly, she can't be here today. It's Shinpoki would normally come around the corner and be like, hey, everybody! But sadly, today she can't join us, but she will be back in the next podcast. And then we have the lovely Infernikus.
Who told you I was lovely?
Because
Hi,
I say so, okay? I say because you have a beard. Because you have a beard, so you're lovely. And okay, so he says hello. That was his hello. And now
I'm not good with hellos or goodbyes.
And now, last but not least, it's me, Steph, who is actually normally this podcast was running on my channel, but we transferred it to a separate channel. So welcome to that. If you are new, welcome to this. Otherwise, if you know us already, thank you for tuning in again. And this time, we read the awesome manga, which is called... Wait, I forgot actually to...
Bokurano?
Yeah, thank you very much. And as this was Daniel's recommendation, he is going to tell you what it's all about or give you a brief description of the manga. So let's go with Infernikus.
Okay, well, I'm reading this from the blurb of one of the volumes I actually own. So, let's see, it says, saving the world is hard. Saving yourself is even harder. Giant robots are invading Earth, and 15 teenagers must figure out a way to stop them. The key is mankind's... the key to mankind's survival... the key to mankind's survival, learn to read, is a towering mecha known as Zeph. But the Iron Giant's power is not infinite. It gets its strength through the power of life supplied by each teenage pilot. That's a deadly price to pay for someone not yet in high school. I really need to learn how to read.
Don't worry, I know. Yeah, okay, that's...
But yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, okay. That's the brief description, so just in a short way. 15 teenagers end up in a giant mecha fighting against other giants mecha to save the world. Boom. Out.
Yeah, there we go.
That's the overall thingy. And as a little rule, which I forgot to mention before, we are going as a lot of other podcasts out there, starting with a little spoiler-free part where we say, okay, this is how we described it in a spoiler-free, or talk about it a little bit spoiler-free, and then later on, we full on get into the spoiler part, and we will let you know, so don't worry about this. And you can then turn off and go read the manga, because you need to. But that's going to be later on. We first start with the little spoiler-free part. So who wants to go first to say what they think about so far, how they liked stuff like the design of the manga, or I don't know what you want to say so far about the manga. Who wants to start? Yay! Not all at the same time. Wait a second. You're way too... Just one, okay, just one. Jamie?
I thought it was quite random.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't really find a proper plot. It was kind of like each character has their own story, and they're really hard to get into for each character, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you think about the style of the manga? I mean, we know to say this manga is quite old, so this is really an old recommendation here. So I would say we can't really compare it to like the modern style. Like the modern style is on top. But for that, what do you say about the style of the manga, or how the characters are drawn and everything?
Just the style, just the art style.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's proper old school. It's I don't actually know the name of the style, but it's very, you can see it in mangas very frequently. It's well rounded. I suppose it has round edges rather than squares.
Yeah, that's true.
But,
Yeah, well.
but I thought it was okay. It's very nicely drawn. It's a mech thing. I couldn't really figure out sometimes what the robot looked like.
Mm. Yeah.
It had really weird shapes, and it varies every time. Like.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That the drawing of the robot was quite dark, so sometimes it was more a plop of a dark, long thing. Well, that sounds strange,
like really
but you know what I mean.
And, like dangly legs. I was like, what?
Yeah. Okay. Next one. Who wants to say something about this?
Well, then I go.
Yeah.
What I think about it is a very long story first, and but it reads. The chapters are also long, 35 pages each. So you have a lot to read, but I think it's very easy to read because it's not too much text. The panels are very fluent. The art style itself, well, it's not kind of my thing. I like the pretty things more, but and it's also with the character design. Sometimes I had troubles to distinguish each character, but it's okay. What else is to say? Actually, it's the first time where I said, don't read it if you're very sensitive to certain topics.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's very heavy. It feels very depressing, the story.
That's true.
So if you're easily influenced by the mood, then
Yeah, don't read it. Yeah, that's true. So Daniel, as it was your pick, what you say?
Yeah, I kind of summed up what I was going to say actually about like the heavy issues. As I actually originally picked up this manga about 6 years ago, and I wasn't really expecting one of the issues to be discussed. Like we'll get into that later, but overall, it was like this was just a random pickup for me, and it was generally kind of enjoyable. I mean, my one real complaint was there are a lot of characters, and as has been said, it's very hard trying to keep track of who's who, and especially with the art style. I mean, like I'm flicking through it here, and like about two or three of the girls look alike, quite a few of the males look alike, and it's
that's true.
It's very hard to distinguish them, and when you're so far into it, it's really hard to kind of keep track of what's going on and who is still, But looking at the colors that are used, I'm going by the actual physical copies here.
Okay.
Well, even online they have they show you the color spreads, and it's a really interesting style. I mean, like, it's very rare I kind of see like a very like it's like a watercolor painting almost that's been used, and I know it's different seeing it like that.
That sounds very good. Like, maybe to mention for us, like, Daniel is the only one that has the physical copies of that. The rest of us only read it like on the internet, so that's sad. So if I go now, I would say that would have been a manga which I really like to pick up in the physical form. I loved it. The story was, of course, heavy, and I have to say, it might sound like a spoiler, but it felt like a manga Game of Thrones in some parts. I have to say, there were parts where you hated one character and it turned out to be someone that you, like Jaime Lannister. And somehow at the end, or in quite a part of the manga, you were like, shit, you got them like that character. Even though he did awful stuff, or that person did awful stuff, you still, at the end, like that shitty piss head. So it was like, and the stories are, as Misaki already said, are quite heavy. They are, like, each individual kid has their own background story, so they are quite heavy. Like, if we go back to the manga, like, setup, the manga has 65 chapters, with all each, how many pages was it, Misaki? Was 35
normally.
Okay, yeah. So it is a longer one this time, so we choose to go for a longer one. That's why it took us 2 months. No. But we wanted to try out a longer one. So it is quite a longer read this time, not like the short ones we had before. But overall, I feel like that's a really good find. That's really one of those mangas that needs a recommendation. Because the story out there, I feel like it's super good. It's a high-up story where I feel like a lot of newer mangas, and if I take animes, you can like trash the stories of those. Like, you can put this into the bin and then never look at it again. And that had a really depth story with a lot of, sure, you could get confused with all the stories of the kids, as everybody mentioned before. Some of the kids looked quite similar from the drawing style, so that's why we're all a little bit hesitating when it comes to the drawing style, because it is quite old and quite simple. But I still feel like it is a good story, and something if I would go like would you recommend it or not? I know it's a spoiler, but I would definitely recommend it. For anyone who wants really a good story, wants a good read, wants to have a certain amount of drama, definitely is in there, not just a certain, there is a lot of drama in there. And please don't be scared about the whole mecha setup. At the beginning, we all thought like, it's going to be our simple mecha manga, where like kids discover a mecha, get into the mecha, fight against other mechas. But there's so much more behind it. So I feel like that needs something, or this manga needs a little bit more support or recommendation out there. And I feel like a lot of people would really enjoy this manga. So that would be my recommendation on my spoiler-free part. And I really, really want to go to the spoiler part now, because we can talk so much about all the back stories from the kids. So now is your chance here. If you want to turn off and say like, no, fuck that, I ain't going to listen to that shit anymore, then now is your time to say bye-bye. Otherwise, I would like to still have you here. You can leave some comments what you thought about and everything. Discussions all open. And I would say the spoiler pod starts in 3, 2, 1. Oh my god, that was so much drama. I really feel like it was the Game of Thrones of manga, mecha, anime. Like, fucking lord of background stories and... what?
But the focus was more like not the fighting itself. The fights were really short.
Yeah.
It was more like to show how each of the kids dealt with dying.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole setup of this manga like started, in my opinion, so lightweight, so super lightweight, being all like, oh, kids discover this mecha, getting into a little game, getting into the mecha, fighting against, and suddenly that kid fell off the mecha and died. And I thought like, are you serious?
I thought the guy shoved him.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
No,
At the start.
I don't think he did. I actually don't think he did. Sure, I think like Ushio, so Waku was the first kid getting into the whole thingy. So it was the first pilot in it was his first turn. And his story was so light, being like, oh, I wanted to just play football, and my dad, and everything, and suddenly he was like, yeah, we can make that, we can save our world, it's such a good game, died. What? Like, I like, Ushio was an ass, was a fucking asshole, like, right to the point where everything turned around. So I actually thought in the beginning, yes, he did. But I don't feel like he would be able to do this in the last couple of chapters. I don't feel like he pushed him. I think he really accidentally kind of like just did this kind of like pat on the arm, you know what I mean? And somehow he lost his, because he was due to die anyway, kind of, you know what I mean? So I feel like...
I think what happened was, because I was confused by it as well, that he kind of lightly shoved him, but in this moment Waku died already, so he had no balance and just slipped.
I
he's
think
just
so
kind
too.
of giving him like a good, well done pat on the shoulder, but as we know, the kids die at the end. So
So that's true. I thought the same. He was like maybe slipped in that moment where he was about to die anyway. So. You know, and then that's why he kind of died in that specific moment. God damn it, English. But yeah, it was so random. It was suddenly so random that it kind of like totally threw me off out of nowhere. I was like, I expected to go on with
what the fuck moment, like.
Yeah. I expected to go on with 15 kids, like riding. That sounds a little bit weird, but you know what I mean. This giant robot.
But it's good because we were all thrown off like the kids.
Yeah. Same. Yeah, we were kind of like shocked, the same as the kids were. And then when the whole story went into the Dung Beetle, that little helper, being all like, yeah, well, you all died, didn't he told you that? I was like, you fuckhead, you were there. He is the one that is like kind of like looking over each of the kids in the background anywhere, so he definitely knew that Coco Belly didn't told, like Coco Belly was the first or the last man in the former group. He definitely knew that he didn't tell them, that little ass. So he was like, oh, did he not told you about this? Oh, that bad Coco Belly. I was like...
Coco Belly was like the previous weird little alien thing.
Right? He was the last one, the one that introduced the kids to the game.
He would be like the position of... what's that guy's name again?
Dung
Beetle, yeah. He was the previous Dung Beetle, beetle of the previous universe now. He was like the lead, the Dung Beetle of Dung Beetle, basically.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure, but...
Yeah, the end was very unclear.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, because I think that Dung Beetle, like, okay, now we go really, really into the last chapters. Like, when we found out that Dung Beetle was actually one of the previous as well, I think he wasn't. I think Dung Beetle itself, that character is also like those 15 kids chosen randomly with a person that is drawn into that group. Like the last dung beetle then is actually that old military guy that helped out the kids all the time, you know?
Which old dude?
Not I don't know who his name, that's the problem. You know that military chef or boss that helped out the kids all the time, that was the boss. Yeah, he is now the new dung beetle. He is the new.
I thought it was no, it was June.
No, he died.
Remember, he's like in the he takes over the next generation of the kids.
Yeah,
and then he fights
as well.
You don't? No. With him,
yeah, he became the new dung beetle, and dung beetle had to recruit the new kids in the next universe.
But he said sir. He said sir to dung beetle, or to like the real dung beetle then. And
because they reversed the roles.
Yeah,
but dung beetle said never sir to anyone. So I don't think
that's because he kind of changed. He probably he got a connection with the other kids.
What?
So he's kind of like, why aren't you insulting me anymore, sort of thing. June was kind of surprised. No, like, this is the first time you're nice to me and shit.
Really? But I think also like the hair of the new dung beetle looks so like the old dude.
But I remember that it was said that the last pilot get transferred to the next.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was kind of in the very last chapters that they said no. They get like switched to, I don't know, another world or so, and then the rules are reversed, and then it goes on and on like this.
But then
basically there's 15 kids.
But then shouldn't Cocobelly be the new dung beetle?
He was the old dung beetle. He was the dung beetle of dung beetles universe.
That's why he was a pilot. That's why our dung beetle was then the pilot, the human pilot in the next world.
In the last.
Was a dung beetle in this.
So basically there's 15 kids, a dung beetle shows up, the last kid becomes the next dung beetle, and the dung beetle becomes the first fighter in the next universe to recruit kids.
But then, June in the next round, then when he finds another 15 kids, will June then show up again as the last fighter?
He will show up as dung beetle, and then once there's a champion or in the next universe, June will turn back to a kid and fight for the survival of the next universe and recruit more kids.
And fight the last fight.
Yeah.
But why do they then need 15 kids?
Well, he technically fights the first fight. It's like a circle. It keeps going.
Yeah, it was pretty complicated.
Like seriously.
Yeah.
For me at the moment, for me at the moment that doesn't make it doesn't make sense. But I think if I think about this a little bit more, then I sure get it. But I'm not on the level as you guys. Sorry, I'm kind of like, for me, because he said sir, and because I know that Dung Beetle and this old fella in the group had some issues with the title, with the Sir Shitty. I actually thought that old fella, because he was a part of the group, being like part of the group, I mean, he was there all the time. So he got the Dung Beetle part then. Well, anyway.
No.
Yeah. Let the readers decide.
Yeah, let the readers decide. Anyway, but now let's...
We all agree that the ending was confusing as hell.
Yeah. A lot of parts were confusing, and also then when the sister was suddenly like, there was the sister of Dung Beetle, that was so confused
me the most.
Yeah, that was a little those typical plot twists that like popped a little in there, being like to drag the manga a little bit out, that we had so often in all the other ones before. So I felt like that was again some plot twist to just drag the manga a little bit further. So that felt like that.
Make it more complicated than it is.
Yeah. But that was basic. That in the end turned out to be like Dung Beetle's sister that he just willingly, like in himself, he transported to the next dimension, basically, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
She wasn't a pilot or anything, right?
Yes and no. She was not the real pilot, but
She signed up for it in this universe.
Yeah, but Dung Beetle said the Dung Beetle before. He actually. That's why I'm also confused why he didn't set Coco Belly. But anyway, the Dung Beetle before was an idiot and hired more than 15 kids. He said that later on.
That was Coco Belly, though.
Yeah, but he never said that. Why didn't he say Coco Belly? Or I misread that. That's why. Anyway, that Dung Beetle before, what everybody says is Coco Belly, and I don't get it. Hired more than 15 kids. To he didn't really said why, but I guess because like kids die, we saw the kids all dying. So he wanted to prevent that when kids die, when more than one kid die, that he has to search for someone else. So he tracks more than 15 kids in there to have some backups. And she was a backup. She was one of the backups. That's why Dung Beetle, like the new Dung Beetle, then tracked her with him to the new you know what I mean, to the new Earth then.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was a backup. She was actually kind of like the backup fighter or pilot, which didn't got into the pilot status, but then later on she got it. So yeah. Well, also to like maybe start from the beginning with all the backup from the kids. Good. So the first kid that had the most normal, or one of the like few most normal background stories, was actually Waku, the first one that died. So his story was just he wanted to play football, then discovered something with his dad. I forgot. I think his dad was playing football as well, but he gave it up because of something. So he wasn't sure himself anymore to play football and all that jazz. But then he kind of like found it back and died. Next kid we have was, I think, Kodama, right? The psycho one with the weird dad.
Yeah, he was really arrogant. I didn't really like him.
Me neither.
Was that the blonde kid?
The blonde kid with the glasses. The one that had this dad that was like died as well. The dad that died as well. The dad that was a corrupt, big company lead or head that just like fucked up everything. Where even the his siblings, his brothers said like, we hate our dad, and that kid was like, my dad is a hero, and I just like, what the fuck? What's wrong with your picture of life?
Yeah, you wanted to be the person who stood above others and step on others and things like this.
Yeah, that's true.
Even the brothers and stuff didn't like the dad because he was using underhanded techniques, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the issue with him. Yeah.
He didn't have a problem stepping on the innocent people while fighting?
Yeah, that was really awful. Yeah, that was true. Yeah, so he
what's the turkey again?
I think his part was then when they discovered that they die. Because with Waku, they all still were by like, oh shit, it was an accident, or Ushio or Jun was the one who kicked him in or like pushed him in. But I think with him then, with Kodama, they actually had, or actually discovered that they all die because he then fell over, or wasn't it? Because he just died on the spot, and then they realized, because otherwise he would not have fought in that moment. I think he would have one of the kids that run away because they were scared. Well, yeah, they found out in that moment that they're going to die all. I forgot which one his story was shit, but shit in a way that's still doable. Like, he was like one where I was like, yeah, okay, step over it. Next one, I forgot, who was it? Next one, was it already Daishi or?
I forgot. There's so many.
Yeah. Well, I think next one was Daishi. Was with the kids, right? with the two kids. Oh no, I know where. Was it?
The big brother kind of.
Yeah,
did,
no,
right?
I know.
You mean Daichi?
Yeah, I know.
Looking after everyone, yeah.
I'm not.
I
sure.
thought it was sad with him.
Yeah, it was really
Yeah,
sad.
I respected him the most. Like, he was the one that was
Yeah,
really trying hard in life.
yeah, that's true. He just wanted to make sure that his family or his siblings had a good home and somebody's taking care of them, because the dad went away, the mother died, was it? And
Yeah.
so they just had him to take care of the siblings, and they just wanted to go to the fucking park, and at that moment the robot fight started, and that was, I find, the most awful part all the time, when any one of the kids started to like realize that that's their last day, so they want to spend at least a couple of hours doing something, and then that moment the fucking shitty robot shows up and they couldn't do anything ananymore. So
I see that you're having fun. Well, I've got some bad news for you.
yeah
As I noticed it during the end as well, like when they started talking about like their plans and their backstory, that's when the robot would turn up.
Yeah, I know. So I hated that, or I felt that was so destroying all the time. But Daichi had still one of her little normal background story. Still sad with the kids and with his dad and everything, but it was still quite normal. I think the real fuck up started with Kako or Isao.
Mako, I think it is.
Isao, that dude that was the bully or was like the snitch kid, and that was suddenly trying to, like, if I say it, like fuck Shizu and like bullying all the others, and went around, and I think he tried to like beat up Kiri and all that jazz when it was his turn, when you needed to fight.
I hated him the most, to be honest. I dislike him.
Now at the end, if I read through everything, him and Kodama were also the least ones. But in the beginning, when I started, Jun was my most hated guy in the whole troop. And I was so furious to see him stand there last. I was like, okay, everybody is now getting before him. I was like, you can't fucking be serious to let him, who beats up, like, we are in the spoiler section, so, who beats up his own sister, putting that in exclamation marks, the whole time, to be like the last man standing. So it was like, so, you can't be serious. You can't be fucking serious. But now I totally think, Isao and Kodama were the like least.
I didn't really like the other girl though. The girl that was, with the teacher.
The Shizu,
and then her older sister.
Yeah, Shizu, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that story at all. I mean, in the end, I think she really should have killed the dude.
Yeah. That's.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that story was one of the heaviest one in that.
Yeah.
Because it.
Yeah, like I remember. Like.
Yeah, sorry. Because it tracked out. Then, as soon as we got her story, tracked down in the background doing the whole manga. The teacher was everywhere. Was fucking everywhere. He manipulated the systems. He showed up with Kiri again and all that. I just wanted to see him that as well. Like, he should.
Yeah.
She should have really killed him at that point. But yeah, Daniel, you wanted to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah, like I remember going for like all the previous storylines, and like there were like a huge like family issues or parental issues, stuff like that, and then that one came out of nowhere, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like it was some really heavy stuff, and I was sort of like going, ooh, like I didn't really, like you didn't see it coming. Yeah. And that was the worst part. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, that like her whole backstory with being like started so innocently, because the thing is, on the other hand, I knew as soon as she said the whole thing, being like, I wasn't really interested in dudes, and then she started talking to the teacher, I was like, something will be happening between, and then the whole story happened with him just teaching her 2 months how to like basically have sex and fuck and everything. And then he sold her off. He sold the fucking her off to some old douche in a fucking hotel room. That was the most worst thingy ever. Like, I sat at that moment, I sat there being like, are you serious? Are you really serious? Are you doing this right now? Are you for real? Oh my fucking
And the worst thing is that, like, if you look through the manga, most of these kids are, like, 15, 16, so,
Yeah.
you know, like, they're still fairly damn young,
Yeah,
like.
right.
It's still underage, like an hour.
Yeah.
Exactly,
That's true. But the
I
worst
think
thing...
the thing which infuriated me the most, that when he'd had the talk with Kiri, that he was like, oh, it was her fault.
Yes.
It was like, die, you fucker.
But the worst thing was everybody said that. That was even her sister and her dad. I was really... Her story, like, put me off in all the levels of the whole manga. It was so annoying. Like, I didn't got... shut up, sorry about the noises. I didn't got why her own dad... Like, her own dad... Okay, getting back to the sister first. Why did her... Like, I don't know if you got this, and I don't know if I got this right. Like, when it was her turn, like, starting from that part, she killed every douche who, like, did that stuff to her. Which on the one point could totally understand. On the other point, I also feel like there were a lot of innocent people somehow kind of like... Those long arms of the robot, maybe she could just stab all the single one of them. That would be okay. But like, killing so many innocents, it was kind of rough. Like, I can't say it was understandable, because there were so many innocents that she killed. It was awful. But killing those dudes, it had to be done. It had to be done. And when she came to that point to get into this fucking teacher who did all of this to her, and then it turned out that he was together with her sister, which I kind of knew when they had this backstory, and the sister said, oh, I found something really special, and then they suddenly turned to the teacher. I was like, okay, there's something weird going on in that whole thingy. But then when she really said to her, hey, okay, I can understand it was awful, but there is something happened where it was maybe also your fault. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You said to your own sister, who has a child from your teacher boyfriend who is fucking old, like, you know, you say to her, maybe there was something also wrong with you, maybe it was your fault too. What the fuck? And then when the sister, or when Shizu decided not to kill him, where I was like, shit, why didn't you not? But anyway, when she decided not to kill him and they run away, there was that one panel, I hope I remember, and I was right, where she said, I knew about everything. The sister said to the teacher, I knew about everything. And I was flipping tables. I was like, when you knew, why? Why the fuck? Why? Just, no. I can't.
Yeah, this girl didn't really have any support from anyone.
No, even her
and
dad.
She was just a child.
Yeah, even her dad later on. I could understand, like as I said before, I can understand when he says, my daughter killed a lot of innocent people, but he didn't have any grief at all. It was his own daughter, and stuff like that happened to his own father, and he didn't even said, I'm really angry about the shit that happened. No, he said, my daughter is a murderer. And I was like, you fucking bitch of the fucking dad. I was so furious about... I could understand, like, he opened up that whole organization to save or to be there for the people that were, like, the victims of the stuff that happened during those fights. Of course, innocent people sadly had to suffer. But him standing there and just saying, it was bad what's happened to my daughter, but the rest is way awful. Like, so many, like, she's a murderer. She's not better than the teacher. I was like, I was a little bit also upset that those two dads sitting with him, I found it good that they allowed him to use the stuff from their daughters for the organization, but I at least would have hoped they said, hey, listen, son, this was your daughter. Those awful people did stuff to your daughter. that's fucked up. Can you not at least say, man, I hate those people, man, that was awful, man, my pure daughter, that shit, what happened to her is awful. No, they just, like, she is a murderer.
So, apart from Waku, what other characters had kind of like a happy story?
Como.
I can't really, to be honest, like,
Yeah,
I noticed that.
Como had the pianist girl. She had quite, like, not the super good story, but she was the only one that said, I love this world.
Yeah, but she was also kind of ignored by her dad.
Yeah,
like,
but that was not that awful. Like, she was more a little bit put back by her dad, but it was not that awful. Like, I think Waku and Kirinati had this awful Kana. No, we don't want to talk about Kana. We don't really know a lot about Mashi's backstory, because then she turned out to be like Doom Beetle's sister. Anko she had quite man, okay, she was also stood back from her dad. Was also a lot of ignored from her dad, and then developed that idol lifestyle. But I feel still she had one of the normal backstories. Like,
I feel most of the children were kind of abandoned by their parents.
Yeah, the whole abandoned by the parents story was Nakama, the girl who had the prostitute mother.
Oh yeah.
That was actually not that awful, even though I feel like that was one of the most random ones, because suddenly.
Yeah, she still had a fucked up life though. I mean, all the students and shit were saying stuff about her.
The bullying was bad. Yeah, that's true. True. But the most random part was just that she suddenly was like, "Oh, can I go? Or can I be a prostitute too?" I was like, "Girl, what the heck?" You know?
Yeah, it was fucked up, and the mom was like, "Yeah, sure."
When she went to how do you call the organization guy who brings the dudes to the girls?
Yeah.
The pimp. You know, the pimp. Yeah, the pimp. When she went to that pimp guy, which I found super lovely. I don't know why, but he was so nice. When she went to him and being like, "Oh, I want one too because I need to get some stuff." I was like, "Are you serious? You know what?"
She gets her dad, like, holy shit.
Yeah, like, you know what this all is? What? That was just so random, so super random. That was the second random thingy after Waku's sudden death. I feel like, for me, you know, the other backstories were just heavy, but her being just like, "Oh, I'm getting prostitute just to get a little bit money to sew those costumes." I was like, come on, no, what the heck?
But her mom was really cool.
Yeah, because she was like prostitute from herself. Like, it sounds weird, but she did that. She was not a pressure prostitute. She did that because she kind of wanted it, kind of. So that's why I feel like really, and she mastered it really nicely also with the other mothers. She was so savage when she went to that other mother being like, "You should check what your husband is doing." I was like, "Oh, burn."
The thing
she
is,
really like made a stand for it, like, it was awesome.
Huh?
She really like made a stand for what she does and stuff. It was like, real like, bitch.
Yeah.
Get out of my business.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, she's very strong. I found it very funny that then the daughter from the other mother who opposed the prostitute mother became like a sugar girl herself.
Yeah, became like and then when they teleported her into the car of the mother naked with the guy together, I lost it. I lost my shit. That was so funny. That was one of the few funny moments. Yeah, that was so funny. Yeah, so Nakama had the prostitute background story, but yeah, Shizu was definitely one of the fucked up, and one of the story that tracked in the manga the most, like, was always in the background with the teacher. For me, I have to say, it sounds maybe weird and sounds awful, but one of also the awful, like, next to Shizu's story was actually this story from Mochi, the guy who, how do you call it, gave his heart to his best friend.
Transplantation?
Yeah, but not how, god damn it. I don't know, how to call it. Anyway, I describe it maybe more. The guy who had, like, was friend with two other people, like a girl and his best friend and the dude, and suddenly the dude turned out to have a heart disease or a heart failure, and he himself was the only one that had the perfect heart for his best friend. And both fell in love with their best friend, that girl, and both were, like, convinced that she liked the other one. And Mochi was so convinced that she liked the one with the heart disease more because she always helped him out, that he opfered.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, thank you. That he I was so waiting for that word. Sacrificed himself to get them both together, and then actually that girl was in love with Mochi, and the friend knew that, and he just wanted to have a heart to finally give her away. So because she felt so bad about the whole situation, that she always helped him out, and never gave a chance to, like, there was no chance to Mochi because they never confessed anything, but so there was no chance for them to be together for Mochi. So the best friend was just like, I want to get healthy again, want to have a heart again, to give you two the chance to get together. And then there's no chance at all because Mochi's heart is transplanted to this guy, and I was like, oh, dying.
It's kind of cute.
Yeah.
They're together forever.
Well, cute. No, that's not cute.
In a very weird way.
Yeah, well, I found it really interesting that she knew it, that she, in the end, accepted in her way, and said even that at least we are now together, kind of, even though it's a little bit creepy, but that's the only way. But yeah, that she kind of found out or knew it, that he's the one who gave the heart to him. But I found this so sad. It is a typical trauma, and I'm usually not into this lovey-dovey trauma. But god damn it, that got me. Next to Shizu's story, that was one of the most awful stories I found in the whole thingy. Because he sacrificed his own love, the love he had with her, to save the friend, because he was in the believing, or he believed that his friend and her needs to be together while she was in love with him, and my heart. Oh. So Mochi is for me best boy. And I've also felt like he was pretty intelligent. Like he found out that the whole crew was, or that the opposite robots, that we also get a little bit with the robots, actually had crews themselves, or had pilots themselves. So then with him, with his whole story, all the kids found out that they actually, the opposite robots had also pilots, and they are actually from another dimension. So it is quite, that was like also a huge plot twist where I was like, okay, fuck, what? I was like, oh, that's, wow. I didn't expect this, I had to say, because also all the other robots always looked the same, and like Seraph was the only robot that was this black giant blob, or that black thingy, and all the other robots were always whitish colored. So I actually thought that we really just alien robots, and not that they include like pilots themselves and having their own worlds to save. So that's a fucked up thing.
Yeah, although I think they put the other robots as white just as sort of like a differential thing, just so we could tell the difference between the two.
Yeah.
Seeing as like in the manga, there really is only black and white. But it was kind of shocking that like you found out that each one had their own individual crew.
Yeah.
As like what first few, like you kind of just assumed that they were just like autonomous kind of robots, like acting and like acting alone. As opposed to having their own crew. So they kind of add like a oh crap, once I kill this robot, I'm also killing these people kind of aspect to it, which kind of added a bit more to the morality of it as well, because as well as having their own like reasons to fight and people to save and protect, they always had on their mind going, once I win this, I'm wiping out these people kind of thing.
Yeah, and the different world, like not just those people, not those few people in the robot, no, they wiping out worlds with millions of people.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Different realities, where Kiri was then, when we get to his story, Kiri was then actually concerned that those worlds would have been better than his world to save. So that was actually also a really smart thinking of him.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, like, like it's a case of like, are these exact clones of Earth, or like I said, like as you said, and as a character for like, well, am I better off just even my Earth to be destroyed because like I could be saving a better planet here.
Yeah. So those stories like then kind of like connecting with each other is also interesting as well. Like when then if we get to Kiri, who was usually quiet and then got again into the situation with the teacher. That was the second time when I wished he would have killed him. When I really wished he would. When he told about the sister being together with her and all that jazz, and also telling all that awful stuff, being like, it is her fault. It's every girl's fault that falls into this trap. And I just like, are you serious, you asshole? Like a 15-year-old girl has not the knowledge as you, 25 and older-year-old guy. So of course they fall easier into traps, but you are the one that used that shit. You are the one to pressure them into that shit. It's not their fault. Ugh. Awful.
Yeah, he took no responsibility upon himself, but blamed all the other people for taking none.
Yeah.
So was so furious, like.
Yeah. He is really.
I'm sort of sad that.
Yeah.
I'm sort of sad that thinking, God damn it, I would really hate to be going to school in Japan. I mean.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, I know I'm kind of trivializing a really, really heavy subject, and I can be kind of frowned upon, but you kind of sit there going, God damn it, are all the teachers like this?
No, I actually think that's not even just a Japan issue. That's the awful fact is stuff like that actually happens a lot everywhere on this fucking world. The teacher everybody abuse their position in one point or another. So, like, seeing that happen in such an extent in that manga is quite heavy. And then
it kind of like opens your eyes a bit and like makes you think about the bad stuff that happens around, which probably isn't really talked about much.
Yeah, that's true.
In different ways as well. So.
Yeah. And then
I wish they would have finished him off in the end.
Yeah, me too.
Even when the military guys got him.
Yeah, I was like, what are you fucking doing? Why the fuck do you leave him? Oh, come on.
Yeah, even the military commander lady.
Yeah.
She was like, so you want to kill him?
Yeah.
We can organize it.
Yeah. I know. They should have never left him. But anyway, next, who do we have? Kiri had also one of those awful Lishi backstories, but I feel like he was more in the mentalish way. Of course, he had the cousin that tried to kill herself. It was she. So he was kind of like witnessing this part, and was bullied, but I feel like he was like mentally more destroyed, you know what I mean? Because he was mentally in that state where he always repeated that the world was so awful, that he tracked himself really down himself a lot. So because of all the shitty stuff, because he also got to know Shizu's backstory with the teacher and stuff, so I think his mentally state was really bad.
Yeah, he was very unsure what the right thing was to do.
Yeah. That's true. I found good then that they already know that they have that the robots are have their pilots themselves, and I found it good that he stepped out, and the pilot from the other world stepped out as well and showed him that her world is awful as well, with the suicide marks and stuff on her arm, with the cutting marks. So that showed him none of the worlds, no matter which one they ever going to save, if they die, if the other world die, none of them is going to be beautiful, clean, perfect itself. So I kind of feel like Kiri searched for that, searched for something where just everything is like nothing to worry, you know what I mean? So that was why he was also a little bit hesitant to kill the others in the beginning, like the other robot, because he thought maybe that world could be better, but then it wasn't.
Yeah, wasn't he the guy that like let himself come out on top of the hand, and like they had like a weird meeting?
Yeah, and then the girl from the other pilot, she showed her cutting marks on the arm. So that's why I feel like if I would interpret this or put my opinion on, that was something where he was like, okay, shit, even that world doesn't save anyone, you know what I mean?
It just happens everywhere, sort of thing.
Yeah, right.
So,
yeah.
Also, the idol girl, we still haven't talked about her.
Anko. Her story was like, I think her backstory was okay. It was not the worst one, but not the best one. Like, the best was almost Waku. But her being then so brave in the fight, when she did that speech, when her legs were kind of melted off from like the acid from the other pilot or the other robot that got into the cockpit and burned down her fucking legs, you know, and she still was able to fight like that, and with the knowledge her dying and shit was like brave enough to at the end saying such brave words and save like the rest of the kids. I mean, there weren't so many left anymore, but I found her really endearing at the last parts. In the beginning I was like, oh god damn it, one of those annoying ones, like really attention seeking annoying little kids. But
what do you think about the dad's actions though?
Well, the dad's actions,
my daughter's dead.
Yeah, I found it bad in a one way. He knew it. Like, he knew it from the beginning on, so he kind of had the time to prepare himself for that, you know. So, and what else can he do? At least he was one to really suffer, and not like Jesus' dad saying, oh, she's a murderess. You know what I mean? So, like, he really was like in the position to say, I lost my daughter, that's awful. I wished, like, I know he met up with the dad from Como, that military dad, or the ship military dad. And when, I think Como's dad said, I wished I would have spent more time with my kids or with my daughter. So that was really, really sad. That was super sad to see them suffer. They quit their jobs to learn, like Como's dad learned the piano, like she was the piano girl, the only girl in the group that really said, doing the whole manga, this world is beautiful and I want to save that world. And every backstory of the kid was so awful, of the other kids was so awful and dramatic, and she says, oh, this world is beautiful. I was like, oh, well, that's kind of light. But it kind of like lighten up the manga in that part. So I feel like... Yeah.
What I liked about her and the idol girl in particular, like, I noticed that there were sort of like turning points of the story, especially like when there was international intervention with the with Zerf and that, like when like America and everyone else was trying to get involved and have their say about what the robot was doing. Mm-hmm. Like, you kind of noticed once she delivered that message, I've gone, hang on a second, this is... you know, like kind of saw the other countries think, hang on a second, this issue is a lot more than just, oh, Japan has a robot.
Yeah.
You know, like the world's at stake.
Yeah, later on in the manga, that's true. When this giant cannon robot went to Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was true. But that was Kanji's story, where I was like, dude, are you fucking serious? You really stand there in a protected fucking building and let thousands of people die around you just because of the fucking building?
Yeah, I didn't really get why his parents, like his mother, because of her construction error, why she killed herself. For me, it was not so clear, understandable.
Yeah, that's true. That was a little bit like maybe it was just the pressure, like the depression and pressure of this whole building, and she said this building is going to collapse some days and going to kill a lot of people, so she didn't want to live with this like imagination that it's someday going to collapse and she's the cause of it. So that's why she kind of killed it. But I didn't got why he was so insisting on protecting this fucking building while people die around us. And Dung Beetle was like, I could have just transported you there, you know? I could have just, if you want to die on that building, on top of that building, I could have just, what did he done? Teleported you to the building at the end. And he was like, okay. I was like, why didn't you done this in the first place? You could have moved, got away, fighted somewhere on a field, on an open field to, like, you know, prevent that so many people die. And he was in such an awful position then, trying to save other people, trying to destroy that shit. And then he killed the other military guy just because of that, and that was really awful. I found that was his fault, and I found this really annoying.
Yeah, he was a bit selfish in this kind.
Yeah.
I didn't really like this storyline.
Yeah, me too. That was super selfish. And then, but before he was in the fight, telling Ushio what to do. You know, being like the superhero to Ushio or to Jun and tell him, hey, you should be better and you should that and that, and then suddenly turning like such a selfish idiot in the fight. And I was like, oh my god, what are you doing? So I didn't really got that story. That was just plain stupid from him. So plain stupid that it kind of annoyed me a lot to read that at like 2 o'clock in the morning when I went through the manga. But one part we forgot to mention, Shiso actually killed Isao. She killed Isao before she was actually the one to pilot. So we forgot to mention that. Isao didn't die like everybody else after the fight. No. She killed him with the knife in the pilot thing. You remember that?
Yeah, I thought it was a good...
Yeah, me too. That motherfucker was like, it was a little bit like, whoa, okay, like that she was able to do that, but on the other point, okay, she will die anyway, so...
It was a good transition to her backstory.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. So who do we have left? Oh yeah, we have Maki left. Maki's was actually also one of the lighter stories. Totally forgot, because she is one of the character where I thought it was a dude, and she looked like Waku. She was the one sitting in the crib that wasn't even her chair. So we come back to this.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, we come back to this later. Like she was the one that was adopted from that otaku couple. Oh, that otaku couple was so cute. Oh, that was so cool. The dad bringing home those robots and building us up with Maki. That was so cool. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, and she was so protective of her the newborn baby.
Yes. She just wanted to see her brother, and then she died. That was one of the moments where I was like, oh, come on. You could have at least waited till the brother... Oh.
Always so unfortunate timing.
Yeah. That was so awful. That was so awful.
I thought the moment where she had these clothes very random. The girly clothes.
Oh yeah, like what
It
are
was
those
so like,
girly
it doesn't
clothes?
suit you. It looks kind of strange.
Yeah, it looked really cheap because there was looked like a whole prostitute clothes.
Yeah, it was so a little bit random. Like, why this?
Yeah, at
Why
least
is this happening right now?
Yeah, at least if she wanna feel like more girlish, why don't get that fucking dress and not that like
Yeah.
booty hanging out shit? What?
Like, just put her in a cute dress and not in.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not shaming the clothing. I just thought it was so random.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But I think she just wanted to experience.
So should we give our review or our
What?
thoughts? The final ones?
Wait, we are not ready. We still have like Kana's and Ushiro's backstory. Where the fuck have you been in this?
Alright, then I start with Ushiro.
Yeah.
I thought it was surprising and random as well that suddenly the military woman was the mother.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It was really random. I could have saw this coming from the point where she told her backstory, saying she was a rebel. She was a totally rebel. And then when they said he was adopted as well, and the mother was like a rebel, I was like, oh, I could have, but I didn't got this at all till Kana was like, that's the mother. Till Kana found everything out. But I hated him so much because he was so awful to Kana. He beat his own sister up. He beat her up, like own sister in like, you know. So I wanted to punch him in the face so often, during the point till everything turned out with him. So
Yeah, and I felt so bad for Kana in the sense that she I don't know, she sort of just like accepted it was going to happen and just allowed it.
Yeah.
You know, like you kind of have to sympathize with her in the fact that like he was that bad to her that she kind of just accepted going, okay, it's going to happen. I'll just let him beat me up.
Yeah.
But that's because she knew the truth, right?
Yeah, she knew it. Yeah. She knew it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, she asked the military woman to find the mother.
Yeah.
Isn't it ironic?
Yeah, that's so ironic. And instead of saying like the military mother knew it as soon as she went with the kids. She knew it. She said that. She knew it. And instead of saying like, she lied to her. She lied to her, being like, can't find her. And she was standing right in front of her. So it was so... And then her not being able to tell him, I was like, oh god damn it, fuck it, you're all going to die. Tell him at least that point. This is like, you weren't there for him, you like throw him off, you weren't like his actual mother, you just left him somewhere with that, and you can't even tell him or do him that favor and tell him to what you are. Like, I found this awful. And then letting him see how she killed herself. Like, when she shot herself in the head because the enemy got her, like the mother. Oh, I was like, oh, you bitch. You could have. And then at that point, when Kana told him, your mother's out there. That's your mother. And she just smiled, nodded, and fucking blew her head off. I was like, are you fucking serious? The next fucking
I thought it was kind of badass though, like out of all of them. Like she did kind of support her universe or her country or whatever throughout the whole thing. She turned real militaristic sort of mentality wise. Like she got a jet. She volunteered the first to volunteer to pilot the Zert as well.
Yeah. But still...
She was a patriot, kind of.
But still, she could at least helped out so much with telling Jun a little bit earlier
Totally.
who she was. Who she fucking was. I mean, I knew we then found out, other plot twist, that Jun wasn't even in the contract. Like, they had to sign a contract in the beginning that they are the pilots of this. So there were 2 people. Last people we also have left is then Yoko or Machi, who was the sister from Doom Beetle suddenly. That weren't in the contract. And all the chairs they were sitting, 2 of them were in the wrong chair. Like, Jun sat in Tukana's chair and Machi was sitting in Maki's chair. So, and actually the crib was for the baby that Shizu was carrying, where I was like, that's awful as well. Like, the baby could have never been a pilot and they made the contract with a baby. Or, like, not even born, like a fetus child thingy in a womb. So that was like also like such a what story part. So, and then finding out at the end that all the chairs the kids get, like they get their own chairs, like found out that they, like 3 of them didn't even sat in their actually chairs. Well, like, okay, that's fucked up. And yeah, I found this so endearing when June and Machi then went to all of the parents and gave their best to tell them what's going on, to talk with them, to kind of get the backstories of all their friends. Because June then suddenly got a little bit endearing. He was really the Jaime Lannister of this manga for me. Because I kind of started him liking, and I kind of liked them both together, like him and Machi, and her also being like confessing and then suddenly almost dying. I was like, oh, this manga is so awful. But I think Dung Beetle teleported that kid or that person with the gun to kill Machi because he didn't wanted her to die in a battle. I believe that he killed her before he actually killed her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the military guy said, where did this dude got this weapon? Because this weapon is so rare. How the fuck did that dude got those weapons? So I believe he teleported this dude because his sister went against him to sign the contract, even though he didn't want her to sign the contract. And and so he killed her in that point. So I found this because suddenly he wasn't there, you know what I mean? He was listening to all the stories on every kid and every time, and suddenly he said, I gave you a little bit free time, you know? I didn't want to listen to all of your talking, and then in that point that happened. So I feel like he put this whole thing together to get her away in his own way. Because she actually existed in that world as well. So yeah, that was kind of strange as well to see her then being there. You know what I mean? So yeah, and then actually the last part with Dung Beetle himself being there and choosing news thingy, where I totally I really didn't got that plot or that part, like that June is actually like he's the last pilot and then turning into Dung Beetle. That no, I think I'm going to reread that couple of last chapters just to get that, because I kind of really was so convinced that this old military fella, because of the whole Sir situation, because Dung Beetle and the military fella were like, they had the Sir situation as well, where he like the military fella wasn't taking him seriously, and also something with I'm not going to call you sir or something. And so I was so convinced that that old tech is now the new Dung Beetle. But yeah, well, I was so wrong. So I have to reread that again. Okay. Anyone, what was that? Anyone have to say anything else about this manga? Because Jamie's getting impatient. Nothing
not that bad.
I think we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
It's enough
Yeah,
said.
well, a bit
People
long.
have to read a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, good. Then we do this now. I would say we everybody tell what you think about if you would recommend it for your last sentences, and then we die in a battle. No, but yeah. So starting with you, Jamie.
I'm not prepared.
Starting with you, Jamie.
One by one we give our opinions, and one by one we die.
Yeah. Oh my
Drag
god.
this out a little bit.
It's not fast.
Okay, Jamie, you go first. Haha.
Okay then. When I first read the first chapter and stuff, it's really something you need to dive into. Like you can't read just one or two chapters. If you're gonna read it, you'd have to read the whole thing so you get the full picture.
Yeah, definitely.
Like my first impression was very, very random. I was lost and I didn't like it. But after reading it to the end, it was pretty interesting. It was a nice context.
Yeah.
And as a final note, I really liked one specific area as well. Probably nothing that you guys would even be interested in, but it was basically when the military guy was explaining the teleportation.
Yeah.
Like how atoms kind of move from one space to another.
Yeah.
But they already kind of existed there, but they just kind of changed form.
Yeah, that's true.
I really enjoyed that. It's a real. I've been watching a lot of science programs lately, so
Yeah,
it's kind of like that's an interesting theory. I was like, wow,
that
might be true, you know?
Yeah, that was super interesting with all the knowledge in this manga. That was really interesting.
So I felt really enlightened a bit at that part as well. It gave me kind of a different way to think about it. So at first I wouldn't have recommended it, but there's some things that I kind of took away, like to like a new sort of outlook on certain things. So it's quite it was beneficial. Now, even as a story, it was quite long. So for people who really aren't in the mood to read like a whole lot of different stories, I wouldn't recommend it. But it's worth a read if you read it completely.
Definitely, yeah.
That's it.
Okay, cool. So Misaki.
So to say something new, I found I actually had trouble starting this manga because I'm not into the mecha theme, but once I started it went on very easily, and you get really drawn into the mood of this manga, which is something you need to be prepared for if you're sensitive, because I cried a lot several times just because it's so sad, the theme with dying and how people who are left handle it, or how people have to handle knowing they will die very shortly and stuff like this. So it's very heavy, but also it's a good theme to think, like you get certain perspectives and maybe take out something new. And I say it's something worth reading if you're prepared and into it. And it's really not focused on mecha. It's very focused on emotions. So you get something emotional and from worldviews out of it.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, Shinpoki, I think she would recommend it. Then Infernikus.
Well, naturally, I would say I'd recommend it, seeing as I recommended it to you guys to read. But sarcasm aside, it was like going into it, like I just randomly picked up a bookshop, and because I was sick of waiting for another manga I was reading to come in because it was still getting published at the time. But going into it, I kind of saw mechs and thought, oh great, I'm not gonna like this. I've just wasted my money. But it's a real slow burner for me. You know, like it's one that the more you read, the more you get into it. And Yeah, well, yeah. The more you read, the more you got into it, and it was something that kind of like with some backstories and some battles, I really couldn't put it down. And I was like, okay, I need to read just one more page, and towards the end, I felt it was a bit dragged out, but all in all, it's definitely worth reading, I think.
Yeah, true story. So for me, it is definitely, I would say, if I get our newly, I just give it 3 episodes a chance generation, then I would not recommend it to those guys, I have to say, because you have no plan at all. But anyway, for the people that are really into it and take words, stories, and the drawing style is really old. It's not the best. It's not the one you're used to. Every new manga that comes out yet, or in this moment or in this time. So don't expect much from this. But if you want a good story, a really good story that tracks you so deeply into it, and as every one of the cast here said already, it needs a little bit in the beginning. You need your time to get into it. But as soon as the shit hits the shit, then you're totally into it. You can't stop it. I read, as I said, till 4 o'clock in the fucking morning because I didn't want to stop it. I found it so good, the story. Nowadays, there's so much shit out there. Give this a chance. Despite having some flaws in the drawing style and maybe in the beginning, because it tracks a little bit. So maybe forget your 3 episodes, even though it's not not an anime, still forget your 3 episodes and then I drop it because it's shit. Forget that. Try really to get into the story, and I would say you will not be disappointed. It tracks you into every single character. Like, we had issues with the 2 mangas before, or at least with our first manga, where it was like, we wished they had more depth in the characters, and this manga has a lot of depth in all the character you get introduced in that story. So I feel like this is really one of those rare recommendations everybody should check out in the anime and manga community. And yeah, definitely would recommend for actually everybody, even though the 3, I give it just the 3 episodes and then I drop everything. Even you should check it out. I have so much hate for those people. I'm so sorry about it. I feel like I went on the you fucking 3 episodes people. Sorry, a lot of people do that. I'm really sorry. Don't want to offend you. I went a little bit hate on that. I'm sorry. But really, give it a chance. Don't drop it, even though it takes a little bit into it, but definitely worth it. It's a good read. And now we finally finished that shit. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, for tuning in to our 3rd RMR-Podcast episode. Finally getting back together in the podcast vibe. Sadly, there's the next disappointing news. We won't make it on the end of this month. Yeah, I said we're getting into the vibe and then we're not. Well, we are awful. No, we all kind of got schedules. Some of us are not here. Some of us, the summer vacation. Yeah, all lies, we're too lazy. No, some of us are not here, not on vacations, summer. So we are definitely going to be back on the end of July. Maybe with some specials, maybe if we can get all together, even like in a real kind of format, filming us sitting together again in a room like I did on my channel when we had some challenges and stuff. So maybe we try to get this together, but I won't promise yet, but we will see. It's gonna be fun. We will see us in 2 months. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to put up on all my social medias what manga we are going to read next in the next couple of days, weeks. And otherwise,
suspense builds.
Or shortly before the podcast. Otherwise, again, yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. Everybody's going to say bye-bye now. Jamie, say bye-bye.
Bye everyone.
If you wanna, of course, shout out your stuff where you can find, where the people can find you, then say it. Otherwise, you will find the description, everything anyway. Misaki, your turn.
Bye bye.
I say bye bye for Shinpoki. And Infernikus, your turn.
Bye bye.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah. As I said before, I'm going to link all the casts in the description where you can find them and discuss stuff if you want with them and weep with them and yeah, all that other jazz, and check out their channels and check out their stuff. Also leave my stuff, of course, in the description. And then yeah, we see us in 2 months. It sounds long, I know, but that's just how we are. So thank you and bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.